to Bigfoot.
So the way that I interpret that is, and I personally feel like the Sierra sounds are legit, where Ron Moorhead, out in California, was able to capture the vocals of Sasquatch, which are just sound super weird as all get out, but that has also been heard in other parts of the U.S. And I think there's some sort of voice mimicry there where they can, maybe talk or mimic talk similar to humans. I guess that's a little different than what you were asking. So I'm trying to think real quick if I've gotten reports where can they actually mimic a voice. The closest to that is sometimes you hear of baby cries in the woods.
Gross.
And that freaks me out. Like, I know this came up in STM's different Alaska documentaries up in Area A. And it's just like they were hearing weird noises similar to baby cry. And that's weird, man. I don't know how I feel about that. I know some researchers actually play baby cries, and I haven't been able to bring myself to do it because that sets off some weird stuff. Yeah, that was a good comment, Tate. I saw that. Yeah,
absolutely not. I am not playing baby cries.
No, dude, because that sets off other predators too, I think.
Yeah. What if you call in something you don't want to call in? It's not a Bigfoot. I was going to ask if your take on the Sierra sounds, because if you listen to those, there are parts of that sound very human, and then it just wanes off into something that is absolutely not human. It's crazy.
I can say from what I've heard, they are highly effective.
Great. Jeremiah's talking to big feet.
Yeah.
That's gonna make some good podcast right there if you're talking about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
We've I know down, like I've talked about it on I may have done that on accident. So right there.
Burton was like owl in the chat. That's hilarious.
Where my parents live is down on the Illinois river bottoms along the Great River Road on the bluffs and stuff. And the Finding Bigfoot did a town hall at Pierre Marquette State Park. We've seen people send us in tracks and shit from there, but down where my parents live, there's been some weird activity. One day I was out, it was probably midnight or so. I was leaving my parents' house. We were just hanging out, and as I was walking out up on the bluffs, which is all just woodland, and there's some farmland behind it, but I heard a whistle. It was just a one-note whistle, and I was standing there listening to it, and it was moving further down the bluffs through all of the woods. So I whistled back, which everybody says don't ever whistle in the woods, and then it started moving closer to me the more that I whistled toward it. That was kind of the only encounter that happened at that particular time. But then later on, my little brother was leaving my mom's house, and it was probably 10 o'clock at night. And he's like, man, I heard something up in the woods. He's like, it was the weirdest thing. It sounded like a deep voice person yelling Yahoo in the woods.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, dude, all right, that's bizarre. And then my dad, he had taken my boys fishing. So he had like a 2-pound bait bucket of stink bait in the back of his truck with the tailgate up, and he had a big 4x4 over top of it so the lid wouldn't blow off and stuff. He went out the next day to go get the mail and stuff, and he started smelling the stink bait. He's like, well, that's weird. He went out there, and the big 4x4 was moved, and the stink bait bucket was completely gone. He didn't see it. It wasn't knocked out of the truck. It wasn't down the driveway. Completely gone. But he could still smell it in the area.
Ooh.
So it's I don't know, man. It's weird. My little cousin had got some weird vocalization. It's not very good quality, but it's at the exact same area at my grandparents' house. I'll have to see if I can find it, see if I can play it through.
It's Southern Illinois, you said?
Yeah.
Is that like Little Egypt area?
Further north. It's kind of like, it's pretty much middle Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
So right across from It's
Iowa.
if you just go east from St. Louis, the River Road runs right.
Peoria?
Is Peoria north of us?
Yeah, Peoria's north.
Yeah, so it's probably like right between St. Louis and Peoria.
Yeah.
Dude, so here's the thing. I talked to a gentleman a few episodes back. That area, like Peoria and then northeast of Peoria, he had seen a few Bigfoot in the late 70s, but then I kind of started looking into it. That whole area has a ton of Bigfoot activity, and you wouldn't think it would, but like there's some wild stuff that goes on in that area you're referring to. It's crazy.
We had a picture from a track from Pier Marquette that's a pretty good track. I'm not sure if I still have it or not, but it was taken a few years ago. I'm going to assume probably 2015 or 2016. There's a couple BFRO reports actually on the books from about the same area. But it's weird, man.
Totes weird. It's weird enough to keep you coming back for more.
I know.
What I mean?
Me and Kyle's been flirting with the idea of just going out and traipsing through the bluffs to see.
I want to go out by your mom's.
Yeah.
Go there and then go up by the rock field where the Watchers are.
Yeah, that's another thing.
The Watchers.
That's what Steve dubbed them.
We
It's
have
like California, right?
They're not the same thing, but it's whatever Steve experiences when he's up there.
I've never seen them, right? But I always used to traipse around the woods forever when I was younger. And I would get these weird feelings, and something would match my pace in the woods. Like you could hear it. It would just be set off enough. I would move, it would move. I would move, it would move. Because I'd walk through the fields. And I collect arrowheads, and I'd be looking for arrowheads up there. So I'd be in the field, not making any noise or anything, but you'd hear it off in the woods. I'd move, it move. When I'd stop, it'd stop. And I just kind of dubbed it the Watcher because it just hung out there. You'd always feel like somebody was up there with you. It was pretty bizarre. I think I found this audio. Let me see if I can play it through the mic. It's probably gonna be trash. All right. Rewind it. I don't know how good that came through. It was
That's kind of weird. What time of day?
It was after dark. So they were down. My little cousin was down working on a truck, and he had heard it. It had made multiple calls, and he got his phone out. He catches the last portion of one, and then that one called right after it.
I'm not sure. The only thing I will say is that I've heard something similar to that where, okay, sometimes foxes will sound like demon creatures from beyond. Like
that was one of the ones we were flirting with. Like maybe
yeah,
it was a fox as well.
Like they sound terrible sometimes, but I don't know, man. That's weird. That's a weird one.
Yeah. There was also a story. Man, what is it was up around Girard, Kyle. There's a town north of Girard. I can't ever remember it, but there was a story in the early 2000s about a family up there.
Verdon, is it?
It might have been.
I think Verdon's north. I don't remember.
They had a little apple orchard in their backyard, and they were coming out to their apple trees being picked clean. And after that, they would find heads of rabbits were left in their yard. So when the apples would be gone, there would be a head of a rabbit, almost like a exchange, you know. They were having a swimming pool put in, and the workers were taking a rest underneath the apple tree, and they found a pretty good size footprint up that way, which isn't too far. It's probably maybe an hour north of us.
So there's one thing so you said they were putting a pool in?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Whenever I hear a story or a report where it's like, we were doing this crazy construction around the house, or where you're clearing brush, or where you're putting this in or that in, that could be that's usually a thing where it makes me take notice, because sometimes when you're clearing out stuff around your property, that can set Bigfoot off, because pretty much you're starting to mess with his